Hello and welcome back to Emotionally Speaking. I've had a question about what is happening emotionally when you are agreeing with someone or when you're similar. And I'm interested in this emotionally, but also I'm interested in this empathically, because being similar, agreeing and getting along and having the same ideas and having the same purpose, there's a way in which this is a boundaryless state. There's a way in which, if it's me and this other person and we're completely together on things and we don't have disagreements on anything and we see with the same eyes. There's a way in which our two selves have kind of blended or enmeshed. And if you've had relationships like this where you're both going along and everything's like this, and you start to have some individual idea or an individual need or an individual want, the relationship starts to have a problem because it was based on neither of you having a true sense of individuality, right? So there's a way in which being similar and agreeing is a part of letting go of individuality. And you may have done this when you were a young person or a teenager, because teens really love to be the same. I remember when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, a couple of the girls would call each other and we would decide what color we were wearing the next day. It was really important to them. But there was a way that we are creating our individuality by enforcing similarity, if that makes sense. I think it's a process of adolescent development, right? But you see people getting, into their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s and still needing to have that. So when I look emotionally at similarity, it could be that it mostly is the happiness is running. So my happiness is like everything's cool around here, my contentment, I feel good about myself, feel good about you. Maybe some of my joy will come out. Yay, this is a wonderful world. I have someone who's just like me. I think the fears would be out. Remember, fear is not like, it's terrible. That's panic. Fear is your capacity to identify change and novelty in your environment. So my fear would kind of watching my similar person to make sure there's no change and there's nothing new. If there is change, will I change with them? Will I start eating that new food too? And if there's novelty, something unusual, what am I going to need to do? Do I change myself? So there's a way that the people are enmeshed and their emotions are sort of watching each other and feeling good when the similarity is maintained. There's also going to be some jealousy and envy in there, and I'm talking about the healthy versions of that, where envy, when it's healthy, will look out for your access to material possessions and position, whereas jealousy, when it's healthy, will look out for your relationships, loyalty, love, that sort of thing. So there's going to be a lot of emotions identifying themselves within that similarity enmeshment situation. But let's say that, and I want to say empathically speaking, I don't think that's empathy. I think empathy and similarity are actually the opposite things. And a lot of people think empathy means that you're always nice, that you always get along, and that you do whatever I want you to do, right? But that's not empathy. That's kind of servitude. For me, empathy within my 6 aspects model is that you have the capacity to understand your own self. You're grounded and functional, and you have emotion regulation skills, such that you can take the perspective of another, know that there's someone else, and engage with them in a way that works for them. It might not work for you, right? I don't know if you have friends who are very unusual in their tastes, and finding them a gift means kind of going out and finding the opposite thing of what you would like in terms of colors or whatever, and taking it and showing it to them and saying, I can take this back. What do you think of it? And they're like, I would have chosen this for myself. And you're like, yes! That is empathy that both identifies the difference of another person and seeks to address it in such a way that the other person goes, yes, right? That is the opposite of similarity, right? If I'm doing similarity, and I have friends like this, they will buy me something that they would like. And then I'll be stuck with this big box of something they would like. And, you have to say thank you because, oh, thank you. And then I have to find someone who is like that person who would like that thing. Or I will just say to the person, that is a lovely gift and I cannot use that. Would you like it? But that's hard to say because people feel like, oh, my gift isn't appreciated and that sort of thing. And the impetus of the gift is very appreciated, but I don't need a bag full of your things, okay? So when we have healthy empathy that is not similarity, what we have is you're grounded, which means you're dealing with functional sadness and fear. Fear keeping you focused on the present, knowing what is yours and what isn't. Sadness allowing you to let go of things that you don't need anymore, that don't belong to you. You also have boundaries, which means you've got healthy anger and healthy shame. Now, my healthy anger helps me know that this person is a different universe from me. And my healthy shame helps me know if you like this color, it is probably not the color that that other person likes, right? So going out and buying them a gift is going to be much more of a fully emotive cognitive event than it is just picking up something for someone who's in my family who likes the same things I do, right? But understand the difference between similarity and empathy. If you and I are similar, and we're basically enmeshed, and we're kind of in the same boundary, just constantly checking with each other. What are you doing? How are you doing that? What do you think of this? Then we do not have healthy anger between us. And healthy anger is just a capacity to say, that's you and this is me. That's it, right? And this is what's important to you and this is what's important to me. We don't have that in this enmeshed relationship. So what's missing here is healthy anger and also healthy shame because we're not setting proper boundaries. We're not making clear distinctions between ourselves and another. And in terms of the fourth aspect in my 6 aspects of empathy model, there's also no perspective taking. Perspective taking, it means looking at that other person and saying they like something different than I do. In an enmeshed relationship, there is no perspective taking. It's kind of a perspective taking of the collective, right? So you can't say, wow, I would really like to go to this movie. You would have to say, what do you think of this movie? And then the person says, yeah, and you're like, I would really like to go to that, right? Even your choices become conditional based on the needs of the other. And sometimes that's necessary when you're a teenager, when you're in a very early relationship where that similarity is really what will create the bond for the two of you. And then as you grow and you become more mature in your relationship, you can eventually break off and become 2 individual people who have this relationship in the middle, right? But it's not dragging at both of you. Understanding the difference between empathy and similarity, I think, is for me so interesting because I still get today where if I don't do what another person wants me to do or what they're expecting me to do, they will empath shame me. They will say, well, that's not very empathic. And yes, it is. No, it's just interesting that the concept of empathy is that we need to be the same. And that's the exact opposite of what empathy is. Empathy is 2 individuals learning about the other by becoming more certain and grounded in themselves so that they can see where the differences are. If we're like this, we cannot see the differences. We can't figure out who's what. Is that your leg? I don't know. Well, get it out of my nose, True, healthy, mature empathy is about being able to be present in the presence of difference, not needing constant similarity to help yourself, to help that kind of early adolescent person in you feel safe in the situation, right? It's a very interesting situation, and clearly I don't have it all in my cognitive space, but I'm really looking at the difference between empathy and similarity. I'm seeing them as opposites. and the emotional content in them being sort of opposite as well. So as you start to look at people that you feel really comfortable with, maybe ask yourself, do you have functional boundaries in the presence of that person? Can you want what you want and be different? If not, then probably the relationship is based on similarity. Also think of people within your life. Can you want to go to a different movie and it's okay? Can you want a different food? Can you want a different kind of vacation? Can you want a different kind of house, and is it okay? Or are you being continually brought back to similarity? Look and see what's happening, what emotions are up for that person when they cannot allow you to be an individual, right? Look at what emotions are happening in you if you are requiring that other people not be individuals. What is happening? Emotionally speaking, it's interesting to look at relationships in terms of, and you can go back to the videos on these emotions: jealousy and envy, fear, sadness, anger, and shame. What is working and what is silenced so that your relationship can function. In a healthy relationship with healthy empathy, I would want all 17 of your emotions to be working, while the other person's 17 emotions are working in their own way and in their own time. It's a different idea of what relationships are, but if you can do it, it's a wonderful gift for yourself and for other people, emotionally speaking and empathically speaking. See you next time. Bye-bye.